subject I wish they taught in high school was A. Date Rape 101, B. Gangster Ebonics for crackers, or C. The pull-out method. I'm gonna go with C. Connor.
Yeah, so I have a contingency here. I will take B if it's taught by a white guy.
Oh my god.
Otherwise, if it's not taught by a white guy, I'll take C.
Buy crackers for crackers.
Right.
I like masturbating. A. All the time. B. Publicly. Or C. With power tools.
With power tools.
With power tools. Yes. You ever notice how often people don't use an ashtray, but they use anything else for an ashtray except for an ashtray?
Rob, what are you using for an ashtray?
A McDonald's lid.
It is. Anyway, overrated or underrated? Store-made dessert.
Like,
Overrated.
That shit sucks. That's overrated. It's,
Overrated. You remember those like cookie cakes people would bring the fucking bowl like
that were stale as fuck.
Overrated. Overrated, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or like cupcakes with like inedible frosting. Yeah. Make that.
You know what I
Make
really
that
want?
shit at your
I
house.
want some waffles.
All right. Well, Sean, you are alive. We haven't heard from you since March.
Something like that. I think March.
It's probably been March. I don't really know. All these weeks for me have just been crammed together. So it could very well have been March. It could have been early summer. Hell, it could have been last week. I don't know. But anyways, we're going to get started. And this week we are heading to India to talk about some man-eating wolves.
Oh, I honestly kind of just assumed all wolves would be man-eating if they had the opportunity, but I'm intrigued enough.
Now, it's not that it's not that we're talking about the wolves. It's what people have decided to do to get rid of them. Okay, so
I don't know.
have you seen any part of this story? Like, seen it on like social media at all? Okay, no, because
Not
so
at
this is gonna get wild. Okay, now this is quite literally a big bad wolf story. But what they've done to capture these wolves is they are taking like these like chew toys, like dog chew toys, and they're having children piss on them.
I feel like that's the opposite of what you want to do is get human scent on the bait.
Well, they are man-eating, so they want the child. So here's the crazy thing. Ready?
Yeah.
Not that having your child pee on their favorite doll and then trying to lure a man-eating wolf into a cage. This was my favorite part. Once they have gotten their bait ready, they go and find a wolf den and put it outside next to like a hidden cage. Now, if this were me, near some man-eating wolves, I would not be wandering around with a doll covered in kid piss, trying to lure something that could literally kill me.
Oh my god. See,
I don't know. That's just me.
I used to watch the show Billy the Exterminator a lot back when I was in like middle school, and how he would bait a lot of like traps. And this isn't considered. This isn't wolves. He's catching like raccoons, beavers, squirrel, like stuff like that. So you would actually like try to maybe look for the den or like maybe an entrance of where maybe they're coming from. So in a way, I kind of get what they're doing, but again, that's like a a raccoon who, like, I guess could do some damage to you, but not
Or your trash
man-eating raccoons. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he caught one in a dumpster once. Actually, that was an episode. But like, these are man-eating wolves, and if anyone is actually like, I don't know if people actually know how big wolves are, but they're huge. Like, they're legit. Like, if you've seen what a Great Dane looks like, they're like probably 5 times the size of a Great Dane. Like, they are ginormous animals.
Yeah.
So, like, for one, I would love to see what kind of cages they even have for these. You need, like, a human-sized cage. And
for a giant-ass dog.
Yeah.
That can eat
like,
you.
Yeah. Like, you need almost like a cage for a bear. Almost. Like, that's how big they are.
I still think that my favorite thing about this is the fact that they are just wandering around with the bait, like just holding it.
Exactly. Like, when you bait something, you do whatever to the bait while you put it in the cage. You don't carry it around with you like a fucking moron.
No, because then it gets even more funny if you're trying to bait the cage right when you're placing it there, because that means you gotta have a little kid go piss on it.
I mean, but hey, that makes more sense than carrying the bait around, risking the wolf just coming at you.
If that's the case, I really hope it's your kid that's pissing on it, not just a kid. It's just...
I mean, I would hope it's your kid. I mean, actually, no, I kind of hope it wouldn't be your kid. I don't know. I mean, all of this kind of sounds dumb to begin with. I mean, I feel like there's better ways to catch wolves. I mean, I don't know. I've never caught them, nor do I want to.
Now, I subscribe to a thing called natural selection. Now, natural selection says if you are stupid enough to do something and you get hurt, it's your own fucking fault. Pretty much.
That's almost like when COVID started and everyone said, if you want to get rid of the virus, you know what? Just everyone get it at once and fate will decide who lives and who doesn't.
I'd be okay with that. It's almost like telling someone to inject bleach into themselves and see what happens.
Oh, remember, that was also the thing during COVID. People were like, inject hand sanitizer or something into yourself. That will kill the virus. Like...
My favorite one, not only was the bleach, but was the sunlight. It's like, you need to inject sunlight into yourself. I'm like, how? No. Look, you fucking retard. How the fuck do you do that?
I don't know about that person, but, like, I'm not God. I can't just collect sunlight in a jar and, like, liquefy it somehow and then get, like, a syringe that you can't just buy, usually, and then just inject it into my arm.
They probably found it on the TikTok store.
That's probably true. I mean, I don't know. There's some crazy shit on that TikTok store.
Have you ever bought anything on the TikTok store?
I've been tempted a couple times, but no.
I haven't bought anything either. I want to ask someone that did. Like, even to just, like, not like how much they paid for it, but like when it shows up, is it the thing that you thought that you were buying? Or is it like this big and it's made of plastic?
Here's the thing. Like, if I see something on the TikTok store that I'm like kind of somewhat interested in, I am gonna just go look that same item up online, like on Amazon, and then I'll see. Because at least with Amazon, you kind of know what you're getting. For the most part. You make mistakes, but for the most part, you know what you're getting. It's not like you go on
Again, that's natural selection. It's on you.
Yes. It's not like you're going on
it's on you.
It's not like you're going on Temu, and then you're taking a gamble.
My favorite... obviously, you've seen the Temu ads.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite one currently... Like, obviously, they're all fake.
100%.
There's no fucking way any of this goes on in a Temu ad. But my favorite one is the dollar drone. Have you seen that one?
No,
Okay,
I have not. I can only imagine.
it's this
I can
guy in
only
a shirt.
imagine.
It's this guy in a shirt and tie. They portray him as a businessman, and
Aren't we all?
this kid is in a warehouse playing with this fucking drone. And the businessman shows up. He's like, "Where did you get that? How did you get that?" I was like, "It was $1, sir." I'm like, he's like, $1, but where?
I need to look up. I need to look this up after.
He's like, "From this app." And then it's like the TikTok voice is like, $1 on Temu for new users. Buy now. Like,
Hey, I mean to be fair. If you're getting scammed, at least you're only spending $1.
well, it's $1, and it's probably plus shipping and handling, which is another like 300.
Now, you see, when you go to buy a drone now, say wherever you can get a drone, where I don't even know.
You can get one on Amazon.
Yeah, just say to yourself, you know what? It's only $1. I maybe like shipping and handling maybe that much, but you know what? I only
The
paid
battery
$1.
lasts for 2 minutes.
Yeah, or if it's the normal price, like $400, you could just talk yourself. $399 of that is because of the shipping and handling. It's only worth $1.
How much did you spend on your drone? Oh, I spent about 500. Oh, I got the same one for about $3 on Temu. Yeah, fuck you too.
Back to the wolves.
Yeah, we got
Back
very
to the
sidetracked on that.
My kind of final thoughts on it, like, for one, I don't know why you're trying. Why are you trying to catch wolves when you could just kill them? I mean, I don't know what the animal laws in like India are. I really don't.
I didn't when I saw this story, I didn't look those up, but I just thought the story was funny,
I
so I
feel
took
like
it.
there probably are exceptions for animals like that are probably gonna kill you.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, not probably. They're gonna kill you.
Unless
So I don't know.
unless you have your child pee on a doll.
Apparently, and it will kill your child. Then I guess I don't know.
It's gonna maul that doll. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I feel like there's probably better ways to do it. There's always a better way to do it.
I saw that they. I'll tell you after, but let's just say, given where this is, it's really weird that is the scent that they go after.
I mean, you said man eating.
That's true. All right, are you ready to move on?
Oh yeah.
All right. So with that, we're gonna move on to random thoughts without Rob. Alright, it is now time for Random Thoughts without Rob. So, that usually means that Robert is one, not here, and two, the sideline reporter has finally come back. So, the sideline reporter has stuff to report on. So, Sean, take it away.
Oh shit! I actually had to like report on stuff.
And that's been Random Thoughts without Rob.
Oh god! I actually had to report on stuff. I didn't do my job clearly.
You just
I
didn't
thought
do
you
your
were
job.
gonna have something for me to react to on the sidelines, but I guess not. Football season started.
Yes, it did. Yes, it
Football
did.
season started. Fantasy football is well underway. In one of my leagues the first week, just absolutely dominated, scored just under 200 points, blew everybody in the league out of the water, and the person I faced didn't even get 100 points. So,
Would they pick Jordan Love?
no. No, well, Jordan Love got through he got through most of the first week, so. Actually, but one of the guys I'm facing this week had Jordan Love, and he also had Tua. So yeah, and then he picked. I don't remember his other QB because it's a super flex league. His other QB was Bryce Young. So you know, I mean, in
That's
all
great.
seriousness though, I do hope coming from Bills fans, I hope Tua is okay. Like that's horrible what happened, and I hope he's okay. And then another sad news in sports. I don't know if you heard about this, but like a few weeks ago, there was an NHL player, Johnny Gaudreau, and his brother Matthew were riding bikes. It was like pretty late at night, and they were riding bikes, like fitness, like whatever.
Yeah.
And a car was passing them, and he was going to like kind of like more middle of the road to get around them, be away from them. And then the guy behind that guy was going to the right over the shoulder to pass that guy. He ended up hitting brothers, and he ultimately was arrested for DUI. So he was drunk, and he also ended up killing Johnny and his brother Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
So he's charged. I don't remember what state. I don't know if he's charged in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, but he's charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter or vehicular homicide or something like that. I don't remember exactly. So I just also want to say rest in peace to Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau, and thoughts and prayers go out to their family and friends and the whole hockey community for this very tragic, unneeded loss.
As some people know, Sean's a hockey fan, so Sean
I
follows
am.
all of that way more than I do.
I am.
I did see that it happened, but in terms of hockey, I don't really follow hockey all that much, so I wouldn't know the full extent of it. I've only seen it on like ESPN.
It definitely like hit the news like everywhere, but unless you're like a hardcore, not hard, even hardcore, like a decently casual NHL fan, you wouldn't know too much about it other than probably what you heard on the news. Probably just like news is bringing it up just because it was such like a loss of a guy who was in the prime of his career, and his brother, and just the way they died, it was just absolutely tragic. And the two NHL teams that Johnny played for live streamed the funeral and everything. I watched a good
You see, that's
chunk
what
of
we
it.
like to see. That's what we like
Well,
to see.
I get why, like I get why they do it, like so fans can mourn with the family and friends, and like I watched a good chunk of it, like probably at least half, and it was very just absolutely tragic. And what's even worse, I mean, I don't know if even worse, but like Johnny, like his wife, they have 2 young kids, and at the funeral, Johnny's wife said that she was like 9 weeks pregnant with their third, and also Matthew's wife is pregnant as well with their first. So again, just absolute tragedy. And
Right.
and I'm not gonna get into what I think of the guy who killed them and like his charges and like DUI. I'm not gonna get into all of that. I mean, you can imagine what I think, but again, just thoughts and prayers out to Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau's families and friends, and rest in peace to both of them.
Right. That brought the whole podcast right to a screeching
Yeah,
halt.
I just I had to come up with something.
Great reporting, Sean. This is what we turn to.
I'm sorry, but
Sean at the
that's all I
sports
can
desk.
think
No, in terms of sports, I've been watching a lot of college football. Florida State losing 3, hysterical. Okay.
Losing 3?
Yes, they are now 0-3, and it's the 3rd week of the season. And they lost to Georgia Tech.
Okay.
They lost to someone. I can't remember the second one. I can't remember last week.
Yeah,
But
I have an associate from someone university.
have you really?
Oh yeah.
Well, they also beat Florida State.
Good for them.
And this week, Memphis beat them.
Okay.
So they are now 0-3. They are mathematically pretty much out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
It's
and
week
college
3.
football, I don't watch a lot of college football really at all. But I do know basically even just losing kind of one game, especially early in the year, pretty much just means you're fucked at that point.
So college football this year is going to 12-team playoff. It's moving away from 4, which is I can understand why, because there are definite
More tickets,
arguments
more
of
money,
there
more
are
TV
also
deals,
definite arguments of why teams should be in the playoffs versus the 4 that are selected. Well, the 3 that are selected in Georgia. But anyways, I can understand why is that, but and like the whole money and all of that, but this team last year argued so much, and deservedly so, of why they weren't number 4, because they ended up 5th. And I think it was Ohio State that played Georgia. No, it wasn't. It was someone else. I can't think of the name. Anyways, Michigan beat Ohio State, but Ohio State, because they deemed that as a quality loss, they got number 4. And
Yeah,
it didn't work.
That's why I can't get into college football. Maybe college sports probably in general, but college football specifically, because there's just so many just different rules, and it just seems like teams can just do whatever the fuck they want, and it's just too much to even grasp. And also just the corruption and scandals with college sports, and again college football, it's just it's ridiculous.
I mean, I can understand nobody likes the scandals and stuff like that, and it's hard to understand. But if you think about it, there are 32 teams in the NFL, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There
32
are
NFL, 32 NHL, and yeah.
Great. There are 134 in college.
And that's just Division 1A.
That's Division 1A.
Yeah. Which go UB Division 1A?
Yeah, they kicked UMass's ass this week. They at home.
I know they won their first. Like I said, I don't follow them super closely, but I know they won their first game.
I was at that game.
Well,
I was at that first game. That was that was fun.
Like to go to a game. Yeah, so good for UB. Hopefully UB, and I could even say with UB,
it's a
just
change
to go
in
off
coaching. It's a change in coaching.
It's a change, and you see, even in the NFL, I feel like more UB players are starting to get legit NFL shots. It's not just
even
a
if
player's
it's just
invited
free agency or as undrafted. You're starting to slowly see more making it onto practice squads and
and it isn't they're just brought to camp just because we need a body and they don't even make a practice squad. You legit start seeing them on practice squads or even on teams. I mean, the Buffalo. I mean, it's the same city.
I think the Bills have 2.
3. They have 3 on
3?
the team, and at least two. I mean, one hasn't played yet, but we all know the story Buffalo Joe
Yeah.
Andreessen from the preseason, and there's a chance he plays next week with the injuries they have, and two have already played and have played for a bit and are legit like NFL players. And
Right.
we see and there's a running
But we
back on
just
the
don't think
Chargers.
about it.
Yeah, and there's a running back on the Chargers, Jared Patterson,
Hmm.
who I've heard. I don't know what exactly
He's
what he's
really
on
good.
stats, but I've heard like
In
he's
college, he was
impressed.
fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, even the biggest story out of that, Khalil Mack. I mean, Khalil Mack was drafted fourth overall or something. He was drafted like top 5 when he
Yeah.
in his draft year, and he's had a long NFL career. He's one of the best defensive ends in the NFL for years. But yeah, back to what.
I think just going on that point before heading back to college, I think it's to the point because we don't think about it because UB is not one of those. Even though they are Division One, they're not like the
Well, not
talked
like
about
Florida
college.
State.
They're not Florida State. They're not Georgia. They're
They're
not
not
Michigan,
Louisville,
Ohio
they're not
State, Penn
Arkansas,
State. They're
yeah.
not any of those. They are in a conference that they finish right around the middle almost every year, and
It's
they
the
get
odd year of them finishing like top of their conference.
right.
Like the very odd year that happens.
Other than that, they finish in the middle of their conference almost every year. Their attendance is mainly from alumni and a very small student section. It's just not the only way that you're going to see them on TV, but it's the more common way that you're going to see them on TV is if you have ESPN Plus. It's
Yeah.
just well the UB and UMass game was on CBS Sports Network or something this week, but
Yeah.
from what it
If
looks
you're
like for the
local,
rest of
you're
the
gonna get
season, it
paid.
looks like they're just on ESPN Plus. So
Yeah.
unless you
And
have that,
hopefully,
you're kinda stuck.
hopefully that starts changing. People start seeing like the benefits of the program, and like I will say, UB has definitely, I think, always been more a basketball school. Like their basketball team definitely gets the recognition more than the
oh yeah,
football team does. I mean, you see UB. I wouldn't say every year, but probably regularly in the March Madness tournament.
they are.
Whether they get
If
far
they are
or not,
in,
it's never.
if they are
Yeah,
in, they are a really low seed.
yeah,
But still,
but they're there.
they've been in. I think maybe 3 times in the last 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, I don't think they were in this past year, but I know.
I don't
the
think they
year
were in the
before.
past year, but they definitely were
I think the
in the
2
two
years
years
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't really follow. Like I said, I don't follow college sports. I don't really follow basketball a lot, but I know I do a March Madness bracket with friends, and like I do remember seeing you be in it a couple times
My
since
most
I've done
entertaining
it.
thing about brackets is seeing how many are left by the final,
Exactly.
or even by like the Sweet 16.
Hmm.
Because wasn't it the one year that like there were like no brackets left by the Sweet 16? I think that was like one year, or
I don't.
if it wasn't by the 16, it was definitely by the Elite Eight.
I'm not 100% sure on that. You probably follow it closer than I do, but yeah. But
But
back to like what we were talking about with like with
so
Florida State and everything.
okay, so Florida State is in panic now
Yeah.
because if I'm just going to take a second here and look up the rest of their schedule. Not that this would mean anything to you, but anyone who is a college fan will definitely know how big the rest of their schedule is. Florida State is in the SEC, so
Which is one of the bigger, that I know is one of the bigger conferences. That I do know.
it's one of the Power Five.
Yeah.
So there's the Power Five and the Group Five. Um, that's usually what they're classified into. Is you I'm not really sure if the MAC is a Power Five because I really doubt it is.
I doubt it. But I mean, you never know.
I mean, that's right. You never know. But that's the thing that I love about college sports is you never know. Like
Yeah.
the it's not the fact that these people are trying to play for like time on the field or time on the court. Obviously they are. but they are also trying to prove themselves to get into the NFL, to get into the NBA, to get like to all of that. So it's like not that they're trying to be like a show off for that, but if
Mhm.
you watch like say like you watch like a running back or whatever and you see them in freshman year, compare them to their senior year, you obviously see like the growth there, which makes the
Yeah,
draft, at least for me, a little bit more special when you see them drafted by someone.
absolutely. Yeah, and I could even say
Because
when like the Bills were looking for their QB, like I would pay attention like a little more to college football specifically for the QBs. So it
I
is.
remember watching Josh
I get
Allen
where you're
play
coming
for Wyoming. I
from. Yeah.
remember that. Um, okay. Um, so Florida State's schedule isn't that tough per se, but it's if you lose to one of these, there's no
You're
shot
pretty
you're
much done.
making it. No,
Yeah.
because next week they have California. The week after they have SMU.
Okay.
The 18th they have Duke. And then Florida State versus Miami. Then North Carolina, Notre Dame, and then Charleston South. So if they lose any one of those, they're
That doesn't sound very promising for them.
no.
Could this be
Um,
like the year? Could this be like the year UCF went 0-12, the year they fired George O'Leary?
yeah.
I honest that like sounds like that could
So here's the
happen.
funny thing. So Florida, not Florida State, the Florida Gators. Um, they are also not doing so hot, but they actually have a win, so they're 1-2
Okay.
as of this recording. They're 1-2. The football boosters program that they have is trying to raise money to buy out the coach's contract, so they fire him. I think that's fucking hysterical. That
You know what? People need to start doing that for the professional teams. Like, if a coach isn't liked, they need to start asking for like GoFundMe's. Like, let's
go
make
fund me to
enough
get
money
him
to
the
get this
fuck out of
coach
here.
fired. That needs
Um,
to happen in NFL, NHL, NBA, and MLB. That needs to happen in all the major leagues.
okay, so UCF next week has Colorado. Um, and then 28. Then they play Florida. And then Arizona State, Cincinnati, Iowa State, BYU, West Virginia, and Utah. So their last three games are going to be their toughest. Um,
Hmm.
but it really depends. That's the thing is like all of these arguments can be made for certain teams to be in certain spots, but the way they rank it is based on what you did in the previous week mixed with what schedule you have left.
Hmm.
So that's like the same thing as saying like it's like fuck, what are the Bills now? 1-1?
Bills are 2-0.
2-0? Okay, I thought we lost the first one. Because we were behind when I shut it off when I got pissed off.
They were down 17-3 and ended up coming back and winning like 34-28, I think.
Gotcha.
So
Okay, so we're 2-0. So that would put us higher, especially because beating Miami was in conference.
yeah,
So
and in division too.
yeah.
Pretty big.
So I'm saying with college, there's no
Yeah, yeah. No
divisions.
division.
There's
Yeah,
conferences. So
yeah,
if you beat
yeah.
a team that's in your conference, you're going to move up.
Hmm.
If you absolutely fucking destroy a team outside of your conference, say um like Alabama did to Wisconsin, they're going to go up.
Hmm.
Alabama's going to go up. Um, Alabama walked into Wisconsin, absolutely destroyed them, and left. Um, but that's the thing, though, is even though, like, say, so the top 25 are technically what they call ranked, after 25, you're just considered unranked. There's no ranking after that. Um, but the crazy thing is, when it gets closer to like the end of the season, when it gets closer to playoffs, the unranked teams can start to play spoiler for the teams trying to get a spot. So, like, say, as an example, somehow Florida State wins out to the last game. Okay, so they can now. I mean, they're in the same conference as Georgia, so that's already tough. Because for the way the playoffs are working this time, for this year, the conference championship gets an automatic bye in the first round, except for one of the champions, but that's decided based on record. That's not decided based on schedule.
Yeah.
But if you are the fifth conference, you automatically get the home game for the first round. Anyways, let's say Florida State is ranked for a 12-team playoff. Let's say they're ranked 11th. Okay, by the last game of the season, they're playing Charleston South. Charleston South is in the USA Conference, so their thing is CUSA. But depending on what Charleston's schedule looks like compared to Florida State's, if Charleston beats Florida State, they are out. So they're fighting for that last spot. If Florida State loses that, it's over.
Gotcha.
Which makes like the last 2 weeks of the college season so much more entertaining than the NFL playoffs.
Honestly, I can see it, and honestly, I'm gonna bring an NFL comparison here. This is like when 9 years ago, Bills were already. It was Rex Ryan's first year coaching the team. Bills were already eliminated. I don't know. I think they
Rex
were like
Ryan was coaching. Bills were eliminated by week 3.
Exactly. Exactly. They pretty much were. They were either like 7-9 or 8-8 that year. I don't remember exactly. And they played the Jets in the last week of the year. And for the Jets, it was basically win that game and they're in the playoffs.
Right.
Like that's it. They didn't need any other help. And if any, like it was basically just winning it. That's all they needed to do. And they came out and just laid a complete pile of shit on the field. The Bills dominated them that year and pretty much cost the Jets their playoffs. And now, thanks to that, the Jets still have the tied for first longest playoff drought in all 4 major sports. If you want to guess who they're tied with, you already know.
I was about to say, I'm like this. I'm like, this.
Yeah. Well, all else, just because we're probably coming to the end of this, all else I'll say on the whole sports thing was go Bills for being 2-0. I don't think anyone really saw how well they'd be playing right now for this year.
No one saw that in Arizona coming at all. That was
no. But 2-0, and that's great. Let's ride on that. And Sabres open training camp. I think it's Wednesday as of recording this. So let's go Buffalo.
All right. The last thing that I want to say on college in that, obviously, like they don't do. I mean, they do playoffs and that, and they do the championship. But one of the most entertaining things for me that usually fills up my Hulu recording inbox is the bowl games. So, like that whole like Capital One bowl mania kind of thing. Do not talk to me. I will not pick up. I am sitting my ass in my chair watching not even like these dream matchups or anything, because some of them are. But like When are you going to get in the NFL? When are you going to see the Pop Tart Bowl with the mascot that falls into the damn toaster and out pops a Pop Tart cake?
Um,
It's,
you're not gonna see
or
that.
the winning coach gets covered in mayo. Come on!
We can maybe make that happen with an NFL team.
Yeah, that's only going to happen in North Carolina because that's where the Duke's Mayo Bowl is. Um, but then you get like the absolute classics, like the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, all of like the you get.
The Dollar General Bowl.
Oh my God, the Dollar General Bowl! I really wanted it. So
Like
obviously
just
they
like
all
the
have
real
their
Dollar
own.
Generals, just like the real Dollar Generals, it just pops up
There's
out of
just shit
nowhere.
all over the place.
Yeah, they're just there.
And then there's just like a cart full of like go backs or like like that's somehow playing defense. Like the what the it's just well, because I'm mainly a obviously yes I'm a UB fan, but like I'm also a Michigan fan. So like
Mhm.
just here's Denard Robinson. Oh, got taken out with the cart full of drink mix. Just it's... Also, I will say, doing Instacart orders in a dollar store is absolutely awful. Anyway.
Oh, I 100% agree. Oh, 100%.
Because then the people will argue with you of stuff that's there
Exactly.
versus what you can fucking see.
Exactly. Oh my god, yeah, 100%. They're the worst. They're one of the worst.
Anyways, we're gonna move on to overrated or underrated. Alright, so this is overrated or underrated, which you can play at home, but you will be wrong. So,
Probably. Probably.
I have to ask, because everything that has gone on with it, it's literally become a shit show. So, overrated or underrated, the 2024 election.
Gotta be real. I think we both gotta be really careful how we talk about this, and I don't want to elaborate on this one. I'm gonna say it's overrated because I just don't see how this is as tight of a race as it should be.
I
Kamala should easily be destroying Trump, and I mean, she kind of is starting to, but it's
so
still close enough to like, why is it a race? And that's all I'm gonna say on this.
so I'm gonna say you're. I'm gonna say it's underrated. Okay, and there's two reasons why I'm gonna say it's underrated. One of them is how fast Tim Walz can basically rip apart JD Vance.
It is
It's
a great. I
so
can't
funny.
wait. I cannot wait for that debate. I am so
If
freaking
that
excited.
does happen, I will be canceling everything just to watch it, like to watch
Yeah,
it live because
yeah.
that
I did that for the last. I did that for the Harris Trump debate, and I did not think I was going to get through the whole thing, but I got through the whole thing, and I enjoyed literally every minute of her ripping him apart.
I mean, come on, people get put in prisons and then they get trans surgery. They're doing trans surgery on people in prison. I was on the floor laughing.
Why?
Like, ask. No,
I
obviously, you don't know,
tried
but
being
ask my
so
dad. I
quiet.
was on the floor. Like,
I literally could not. I had to like do this to my ears to make sure I was hearing right, to make sure my hearing was okay, and I did, and it was.
it was. And he did say that. And
Yep. He
two,
said a lot of
which
things. He said a
which
lot of
brings me to number two. Late night hosts. Love this. So I'm a Colbert fan and I'm a John Oliver fan. So
things.
I'll watch the rest of them. I'm not a huge fan of Fallon. It just the way that it's structured, it doesn't make
That's
sense
the
to
one.
me.
That's the one I like.
Um,
Jimmy Fallon's the one I would. I don't watch any of them really, anyways. But Jimmy Fallon's the one I think is funny.
I just I just don't understand the skits. I just don't. Like I can understand like the running jokes, but I don't understand why we need to bring a famous band in and have them play one of their like most popular songs on children's toys. I don't get it.
Fair enough.
Um, but like John Oliver had this bit because he hadn't had a new show before the debate. Like
Mhm.
3 weeks before the debate was his like last new show, and then a new one came out in terms of this recording last week. And he was talking about the JD Vance with the donuts. It's like, yeah, it was like playing the clip. It's like, yeah, just whatever makes sense. Whatever makes sense? It's donuts. They don't make sense. Cake for breakfast? That's insane.
With even more
And they've
like,
got sprinkles?
with even more like unhealthy things that go be like with frosting and glaze and like everything. Like in a way, donuts are probably more unhealthy than cake itself.
But I just loved the way that he put it. It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense. Or, but what was it? Colbert's bit about the, what was it? Oh, the, he sometimes brings his dog, like, to the set.
So good. Oh
Sometimes.
god.
So,
Oh, I know where this is going.
no, this was during like rehearsals, so it didn't make it onto TV. But
Damn.
I sometimes they like post some of the rehearsals, but there was someone that was like live tweeting like the rehearsal or whatever, and I saw this and it was like he was doing like the rehearsal about the Trump says like the people in what was it, Ohio? Yeah,
Ohio.
people were saying
Springfield,
in
Ohio.
Ohio of eating dogs, and Benny his dog goes and hides behind the desk.
He had the concept of a skit. The concept.
Pretty much, but yeah. I mean, I think my favorite thing that Colbert does is meanwhile. Is that I mean, it's kind of a skit, but like every it especially started like after like Trump became president. And I was like, because his entire monologue was just about him. So they started doing meanwhile for like, okay, here's something different. And but they've all been, for a lack of a better term, wild. Like they just To the point, I think there was like a handful that we talked about on previous podcasts and then made onto the show. it was so stuff like that. But anyways, let's keep moving.
Yep.
Overrated or underrated? Fantasy football.
Oh, completely underrated. Love fantasy football.
Now,
I think we've talked about this before. I don't need to say any more. I love it.
fantasy football, I'm going to say, is underrated. Betting on football is overrated.
I still do it, so I would still say underrated for that, as long as you're smart with it.
Especially, I don't bet on football because all the teams that I follow usually don't cover. So
That's your fault. That's your problem.
So I'm not gonna bet any money on teams that don't cover, that routinely don't cover. So, anyways, overrated or underrated? Starting an argument in the comment section.
Very overrated because I just feel like there's better things I could do with my time than I'll make my point and piss someone off, but I'll leave it at that. I'm not gonna really. Only a couple times have I actually started to like. I will continue the argument with the person because they're being so unreasonable, but it is very overrated because there are just so many better things you can do with your time.
I think it's underrated. I think this is so much fun. This is because people will argue about the stupidest shit.
That's the thing. That's why I can't deal with people arguing over really stupid things.
Like there was like one post that like MLB on Fox had or whatever that it was like yeah, like because I'm a Mets fan, so it was like as of this recording, like Lindor was taken out because he like slid wrong, and he left the game with like lower back soreness or whatever. But
Gotcha.
like that's understandable. This dude's on a 10-year contract. He's had one hell of a career. You take one day off for tweaking your back, fine.
Especially with how many games
Mets
a week.
fans think that this is a catastrophe. I'm like, no, they are literally going to call up someone because we don't. Not that we don't have another person that can play shortstop, but they know what they're doing. They have backup plans. Like, yeah. It's like, no, they don't. It's like, and then they called up Acuna's brother. The Mets have a shortstop that's literally Acuna's brother. They called him up, and I think this next week they are going to Atlanta to play the Braves.
Okay.
But I just thought that was funny. But either way, the MLB on Fox then announces that they're calling up Acuna. I was like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. Okay, listen here, fuckhead.
This is honestly just sports in general with like just people.
I mean, I was just doing it as an example, but like that, it's shit like that. That's just so funny. It's just so funny.
It's honestly just why I can't read comments on sports posts because it's just like everyone's a GM in the comments. But
speaking of GM in the comments, overrated or underrated? Know-it-all Bills fans.
Completely overrated.
Overrated. You don't know shit that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Even recently, not arguing in comments, but I've gotten arguments with friends over like certain things with the team, like with the coach and stuff like that. And it's like you argue, you debate, like whatever. Like at the end of the day, I know what I want or what I'm saying should happen might not happen, or a lot will have to happen. So like I'm just getting my point out of what I think, but it's just what I think, and that's it. And I don't care at the end of the day because I have better things to do with my time than to argue about this point.
My thing with this is not even like your opinion, not that it doesn't matter, but like there's opinion versus, well, if it was me. And it's the if it was me people I have a problem with.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, if
And
it
I think
was
we've
you,
all been there.
do,
We've
do,
all
do you
been
know
there.
the Bills budget for a new person? No? Okay,
No.
then don't try to get Derrick Henry.
Yeah, no one.
That's
I mean, I would say like it's not even just the budget too. It's also like you got to have the cap room to do it.
which
Like in the
nobody
NFL,
knows.
there's
Like you
barely
cannot.
any
That's
owners.
not something you could just look up. Like that's
Barely in the NFL are there owners that aren't willing to spend up to the cap. Like some barely. There's some that probably can't really afford to, even though the NFL likes, oh, you can go up to the cap. Like, but the Bills, it's never really an issue because the Bills make money. They're a team that makes money and everything, so they can always regularly go up to the cap. But at the same time, they gotta budget their team to like we need money for this certain position over this certain position and stuff
right.
like that. And all sports are like that. Like even like with the Sabres, it's like, yeah, we could probably go up to the cap, but we need money for other things. We're gonna need the money in the future, so we don't want to shell out long-term money now when we're gonna need it in the future. Like people could say like with the Sabres for this year, like they could have gotten another top 6 winner, and I want them to get a top 6 winner. I'm all for that. At the same time, it's got to be done smartly. Like if you're gonna get a player and you're gonna commit to him long term, you got to make sure he's your guy that
Right.
you're gonna commit that money to long term. Like if they were willing this year to give out a 1-year deal to someone for a lot of money, that would have been great. And they have other players that got to resign next year. And it's like, are one of the players you got to resign next year? Are you trading him for that better player? Then if that's the case, then fine. But if you're not, you got to keep that money like available.
Right.
Even if the cap goes up, you need to have the money to do it.
Right. All right. I got 2 more here. Um, overrated or underrated? Owning a cannon.
Overrated. I fail to see the point.
I'm saying it's underrated because I want to be the person from Mary Poppins that shoots a cannon off their fucking roof.
You know what? Just for that reason, I'll say I'm in the fence.
You're
say
in the
underrated
fence?
for that reason. Underrated for that reason in particular. Other than that, overrated.
Okay, and then my last one is overrated or underrated? Comic-Con.
I mean, I don't go to it. There's rarely cons I would go to. I will just say underrated for the people who do like that.
For the people who do like that, I'm going to say it's underrated.
Yeah.
For the people
It's
that
not
want
for
to
me.
buy things from it, it's overrated.
Yeah.
Because I could buy the same shit on Amazon for about half the price or Temu for a quarter the price.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that,
It's like
my
going to
friend, is how
Disney.
you tie an episode together.
It's like going to Disney. It's going to Disney is very underrated. Disney is a lot of fun. It's expensive to go to, yes, but it is a lot of fun to go to.
And a
When
shirt
you
is about
buy
$26.
stuff from there- Yes, when you buy something from there, yeah, probably a little overrated because you would probably find the same shirt online somewhere for cheaper. Or shirt, whatever souvenir, honestly. I think the only thing, when I've gone to Disney, I think the only thing I've ever bought from the park is like candy or something.
I've got a small collection
food-
of like
like
I was
food
I was a
stuff.
big fan I was a big fan of the pins. So I bought like I usually buy so like I've been to like every resort they have, but I want to collect like a pin from every resort.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like, that's different. That I think's different.
but it got to a point where I just started getting like obsessed with them to a point where like I have this bulletin board in my room and it's just covered in Disney pins. Because I would literally like they would have these things that are like mystery boxes or whatever, but they come with like 8 pins in them. And they were like $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
For 8 pins
Yeah,
for $10 is stupid cheap because each of like the like just like the like the resort pins or whatever. Each one of those is like $12. So $10 for 8 of them. I'm gonna take it. So now I've
Yeah.
just got like a
It's like
whole bulletin board of uh, Disney pins.
It's like when I went to Animal Kingdom like a few months back, but back in like April, me and my family we ate at the Rainforest Cafe
Yep.
for lunch and everything, and that is technically not a part of the park. Like you
No.
technically are leaving the park when you go into the restaurant. So everything, like any like souvenir you buy in that restaurant, is not Disney priced. It is what a Rainforest Cafe anywhere else in the country would be.
Yeah.
Bought like a t-shirt. I think I bought like a t-shirt, and I don't think the t-shirt was that much. And I think I bought like my niece a gift or something, and that didn't even be like that much. I think total I maybe spent $20 on those two things total.
Right.
I think I don't even remember. So yeah.
But, all right. So that's what I got for overrated or underrated. We're gonna move on to that's where I draw the line. All right. So we're gonna play a game. That's where I draw the line. Basically, how this works because Sean has pretty sure not played this before. I'm gonna say something, and you're gonna be basically what you do is you decide on where you draw the line of like between okay, I'll deal with it, and that's fucking ridiculous.
You're
Okay?
either gonna get me like really calm here and just be like whatever on some topics, or you're gonna get me like really heated, and this will go on longer than it needs to.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to keep my cool here, depending what you ask.
You can also come up with one at the end too if you want. So, where do you draw the line, Sean, on going to a different checkout because someone was taking too fucking long?
Okay. And we talked about this. I knew this was coming because we talked about it beforehand. So, as an Instacart shopper, like, I don't care if I'm holding people up. I'm on a time crunch. Like, I need to get this done. Even if I have a couple orders, I need to get this done. Where if I'm behind people, see, I will usually walk past all the lanes, and I'll kind of, like, judge. Like, if it's, like, decently busy. And I'll judge, like, okay, I'll look at one person's car and I'm like, okay, is the belt already full and they still have more? Or is it, like, full and it's moving and they're done? So that's how I judge. If I have a sense that's like, okay, it's going quickly, like, it's a lot of stuff, but it's going somewhat quickly, then I'm like, fine, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay. if they have just way too much stuff or it's going really slow, like the worker's just a little too slow getting everything, then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go look somewhere else. And if there is nowhere else, then I'll just go back because by then it probably is more cleared. I don't know.
Okay.
I like I said, that's how I judge.
Okay, I'm going 10 minutes. Now, and it's purely for the fact that if you're in the self checkout for more than 10 minutes, you do not deserve to be in the self checkout.
I agree. I agree with that. See, like, self checkouts to me, I think like 10 items or less, I think is a little strict. I think it could be 15.
I'm gonna say 20.
Maybe even 20, depending what the items are.
20 at most.
That's, yeah, and again, it depends what the items are.
Because I remember doing like some like Instacart orders that were only like maybe like 10, 12 things, but it's all like frozen shit. And then the person with 200 items and 3 Instacart orders is taking an eternity trying to play Jenga and Tetris, trying to load everything onto.
Like, I'll never take an order like that through self checkout. That'd be just stupid.
No, that's awful.
Yeah.
And I would question your life choices. But
exactly.
I would take it. I wouldn't take an order over 25 through the self checkout.
I probably wouldn't even do that. It's like 10 or 15 for me.
Unless I would only take it through the self checkout if everything was like this big. So.
And yeah, that's the thing. Like if the order looks small, like it's not 10 items, but it looks like it is because they're all small stuff. They're not even gonna question you. They'll just let you. There are times when I go through and I say I have to just have it take it up to another place just to scan the order. I'm not even checking it out technically at the thing. I'm only going through this because I'm getting something for myself real quick. It's one item. Some people will look at my car and be like, "You have too many items." I'm like, I am getting this one thing for myself. I will be up with you in a sec to scan this order. And it's just like annoying.
Right.
Like there's how strict they are about it.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Where do you draw the line in terms of the amount of car stickers?
I just bought car stickers for my car yesterday. No, more decals than stickers. I
say stickers. They could be decals. It does. I would say it doesn't really matter. But like in terms of things that aren't on your car when it came off the factory floor, sticking things onto your car. What's the most?
Well, if it's political, I'd say 0. No matter what party you are, I just think it looks stupid no matter what. Like, I will never have a Harris Walls sticker on my car because that's just dumb. And even regular stickers in general, honestly, not a lot. Like, I'd say maybe a couple on the window for, like, sports teams maybe, or, like, maybe your university name, because I see that a lot. But
I'm gonna say
I just think stickers are stupid.
I'm gonna say it doesn't matter what they are. It depends on the size of it needs to depend on the size of the car. It needs to depend on the size of the window.
Yeah.
Because I know people like put stickers on their window. I put stickers on my window purely for the fact because my car doesn't really have all of like that much of like body space on it. Mm-hmm. So I put them on the window because I like to see it. But I only have 2. That I have a Mandalorian one and I have an Iron Man one.
Yeah, like
and they're both on like each side, so yeah, it's not obstructing or anything.
I bought Sabres ones yesterday while I was at Sabres Fan Fest, and they're like not super big. Let's see if I can even. It's over there. They're over there, so I don't want to grab them, but they're not like super big. And like, again, like they're not big, and it's like 3 of them, and I don't even know if I'll use all 3. Like, yeah, like something like that I think's acceptable, but honestly, like if we're gonna go overrated, underrated on this topic, I think it's very overrated.
Okay.
Stickers on cars.
All right. Where do you draw the line on the amount of cars you let in front of you before closing the door?
Wait, what?
So, like, say you're on the boulevard in the right lane,
Okay.
going towards the highway, and you're sitting in front of like fucking Applebee's, but like you're stuck there on a red light. How many cars you let
Okay.
go in front of you before you decide, fuck this, I need to get out of here?
I will always try to get out the first opportunity I can.
Okay.
Only time I ever let cars in front of me is if I'm already at a red light and I know it's not going anywhere anytime soon anyways. So I'll let the one person who's waiting to pull out in front of me and I left like I have enough space in front of me to let them out. I'll do that, let that one person, and then after that, no one else is getting through.
Okay. So one.
Pretty much. And
Great,
that's
because that's
very
also my answer.
special circumstance kind of thing. It's not an all the time kind of thing.
No,
Okay, now I got one for
my
you.
answer is one. My answer is one. I got one more. I got one more.
Okay.
Okay. This one was mainly for Robert, because I wrote this episode when he quit his job. But the that's where I draw the line. The amount of bullshit you deal with before quitting your job.
Oh, it depends on the job.
I feel like it does
Depends on
depend
the
on the
job, how
job,
much
but
you get
it like
paid.
if it's like you don't get paid that much and you're asked to work like 7 days a week with no break, like at all,
Oh, it wouldn't take a
then
lot for
you're
me to
out.
quit at
Like
all.
that's it.
If those were the circumstances, that I'd quit immediately. I wouldn't care.
Right. All right, what's yours?
Okay, where and this is kind of similar to the checkout lane in a way.
Okay.
Where do you draw the line of when you go to a fast food restaurant, you're just going through the drive-through? Where do you draw the line of how many cars are there that you're willing to wait behind, kind of thing?
It depends on where it is.
Yeah, like for me, this would
So,
depend. Like, do I really want this specific restaurant? Like, am I just going to get food in general, or do I want this restaurant in particular? If I want the restaurant in particular, at worst, I will just go inside because they have different people working the counter than working the drive-through.
right.
It's still the same amount of people making the food, but it's the same, like, that kind of thing. If, like, I'm going to McDonald's, the line's really long, but there's like a Burger King, a Taco Bell, a Wendy, like anything like that around. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need McDonald's specifically. I can get these other places and their lines are shorter. That I'll do.
Okay. So, for McDonald's, some McDonald's here have the 2 lane and some of them have the 1 lane.
Yeah.
If it's
Majority of them now in the Buffalo area have like the 2 lanes.
except for the one that's
Majority.
on uh Delaware and Sheridan. That one has the 1 lane.
Yeah, that one's
Um,
kind of hard too because of how that freaking area it's in sucks.
so I will say, if it's the one that has the 2 lane, like in front of me to either one of the of like the menus,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 4.
Okay.
Okay. If it's the 1 lane, 2.
I think I'm with you
Um,
on that. I think I'm with you on that.
if it's like that and I have to go somewhere else, if I have to go somewhere else, it's most likely during my break. So then I want something like even faster than that. At that point, it's 1.
Yeah, and
So
I
like
think a lot of this depends on the time you have as well.
right. So at that point, it's 1. But if I want something extremely specific, because I paid for the DoorDash annual membership, I will pick it up. I will order it on the app and then just pick it up.
Fair enough.
Because one, I don't have to talk to people. Two, I get rewarded for doing that. Cause like for a handful of places, you get like it's like you order from this place 3 times, you get a 10% a $10 off your fourth order or something like that. Which,
Yeah.
considering DoorDash prices, big money savings there.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my god.
but like depending on what it is going to depend on how many cars are. Well, depending on what it is, then if I want it that bad, maybe I'll wait. But if I just want something and like I've got like 10 minutes left of my break, I'm looking for one car or no car. So like that's
fair enough. That's totally fair, I think, in my opinion.
But like I don't mind waiting as long as I'm not in a rush.
Yeah, and usually even too,
Like,
I'd say even with lunches, I feel like drive-thrus don't get like super busy at lunchtime for whatever reason. I could be wrong, maybe just the areas I'm in, but I feel like the really where I start seeing lines get really long is either really early in the morning, specifically with some restaurants, or like dinner time.
that I can understand.
It depends. And lunch, it kind of like probably depends on the area you're in as well too,
Right.
and how many options are in that area.
Well, I've tried to like take my lunch breaks like not during lunch. So like most people's like lunches are like 12:30, 1. I'm taking my lunch at like 3.
That's usually when I start eating lunch, is around like between noon and 1. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's normally like that. I usually just take my break at like 3. So it's like right in between the lunch rush and the dinner rush, which is usually when I can just
little bit of the dead time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's when I try to go, but
okay.
That's just me. But all right, do you have any others?
That was the one I have for this week.
All right, so we will say before we go, we are contemplating doing a Q&A. So send in your questions. Maybe some will get answered. Maybe some won't. Maybe Robert will just decide not to show up again. I don't know. But if someone does ask that question, I'm just gonna hand out Robert's personal phone number, and you can ask him. But which he'll
love to see his reaction.
Which he will love. But anyways, Sean, do you have anything else?
No. Thank you for having me again. Hope to start doing this a little more regularly coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean, the sideline reporter.
Maybe a promotion.
Might as well get promoted to a little bit higher. Weatherman, maybe.
Not co-host.
Every about 8 minutes.
I think I'm more of a co-host at this point than Rob.
Yeah, it might be. Who knows? Actually, wait, that's my decision. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Wash your fucking hands, because the amount of people that I've seen that have not washed their hands is fucking disgusting. So please, for the love of God, if you don't wash your hands, invest in some hand sanitizer. At the very least.
Yeah. Or even lotion. Even lotion is better than nothing.
Whatever. I don't want to think about it. But anyways, that's what we got for this week. Hopefully we come back relatively soon. But with that, we say goodbye for now, and we'll see you at some point.
See ya.